country underscore name. Okay. I assume that all of you already got your virtual background, so please use your virtual background. Hi, chairperson. Okay. So in a few minutes, we're going to start the first conference for UN Women. But before that, we would like to invite all of you, the delegates, to turn on your camera and don't forget to use your virtual background that the committee already sent through your email. And don't forget to change your username on Zoom by country underscore your name. Okay, we are about to start the UN Women First session for today, and we would like to. Okay, we are about to start the first session of UN Women Council. So, would like to invite the chairperson, Ms. Alberta Tracy, to have the floor. Sorry for interrupting. Sorry for interrupt, Ms. Alberta. We cannot hear your voice. Can you try again?
Sorry. Okay, okay, am I audible right now already? Am I audible? Yeah, okay. So, committee, are we supposed to have a zero MUN conference first, like MUN 1.1?
Sorry, Chair, can you say it once again?
So, committee, I was thinking that we have a schedule of MUN 0, right? Like 0 conference, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
like
yeah, sure.
So, are we supposed to, can the committee like share the screen already regarding to the materials?
Share, but ROP?
Yes, the ROP. Sorry.
Okay.
Before that, can I know like how many delegates here are actually a beginner. Oh, for those who are beginner, you can just raise your hand. Yes. India. Sorry, can you guys like put your name on countries and name format so that we know which delegates are you from? Okay. Okay, welcome to the UN Women Council. And greetings to delegates and of course to the committee. So regarding to the rules of procedure, and sorry, for those who are actually raise their hand, you can just unraise your hand right now already. And before that, since like I heard from the committee that most of the delegates here are quite beginner or a bit friendly beginner. We would like to address first the ROP of this conference. So we're on a UN Women Council, and can we like, and okay, so if you can see here that we have divided into scope, delegation, powers of committee staff, and courtesy. What do you mean by the scope? So on this conference this time, we have two councils, right? One is the UNFCCC and one is the UN Women. And for the delegation, a member of the committee is the representative who is officially registered with the conference. So those who are actually, on the delegation, each member will be represented by one or two delegate role, but for our council, we are actually only one representative for each countries. Third is the powers of the committee staff. So usually on a council, we have like 3 chairpersons, but due to the amount of the delegates, we only have like myself, but it's okay. You can just ask me anything if you have some kind of issues, or you can text the committee as well. Fourth is the courtesy. Delegates will show courtesy and respect to the committee staff and to the other delegates. So when someone is talking, please be respectful with the other delegates. So maybe next, please. So in a formal debate, we cannot use electronic device, but due to the pandemic situation, we cannot deny the facts we need an electronic device. That's why we are here on Zoom, right? So, and the dress code formally is a business attire, Western business attire. Opening speech are actually, I can say that from 7 to 10, it's actually mostly into the procedures of the MUN. First is the opening speech. So after we do the roll call, we will be having an opening speech, which mostly talk about the country census of every country. Second, we will be having a debate, but debate is actually, I can say it was divided into 2 parts, like moderate caucus and unmoderate caucus. I prefer to say that moderate caucus is in a formal way. So every delegates can get to talk on their country census, on their issues or their concerns with a limited time. However, unmoderate caucus, I would prefer to say it was more into friends chatting, conversations, like informal way. So if you have some kind of chit chat with your friends on the Zooms, I can prefer to say that unmoderate caucus is in this kind of situations. So maybe next. Points of order. So a delegate, before they wanted to raise some points, they have to ask for points of order to indicate an instance of improper parliamentary procedures. Example, if sometimes like me as a chair, I mean, we're human, we make mistakes. So sometimes if we have some kind of improper rules, or we do something which is not correlated with the parliamentary inquiry, so you can ask points of orders to make sure that we are on the right way of discussions and conference. 12, draft resolutions. This is actually one of the I can say it was like an agreement for every country that have to be voted and have to be submitted on the end of the day. 13 is the substantive voting. So the draft resolutions that have been done by the delegates have to be voted. I mean, if you wanted to vote for, it means you're accepting the draft resolutions. But if you're not in favor with the draft resolutions, it means you can vote for against. But I prefer to say that since we're on an MUN conference, please cooperate and I just not use the word abstain. For then the roll call voting, I can say the roll call voting is the beginning of the committee session, we will be having a roll call voting. You only have two choices. It is a present or prisoner voting. What are the difference? So it was actually have no difference during the committee sessions, but it will be different when you are on a substantive voting, on the draft resolutions voting. The chair will be asking for a roll call again before the voting of the draft resolutions. And then after that, the difference is if you vote for present on a substantive voting, you can abstain from the votes of the draft resolutions. But if your votes like during the just a normal committee sessions, then there will be no actual difference. Okay, next, please. Oh, I guess it's finished. It's finished, right, committee?
Yeah, yes, right.
Sorry. So before that, is there any questions from the delegates? I see everyone is not a beginner, huh? So, okay, let's just take it slow. And perhaps like some delegates here who are not using the format name, please change your name and then please open your camera. If you don't want to open your camera, please at least tell us what's your issues and what's your disruptions. Maybe the delegates of Japan, delegates of Pakistan, delegates of US. Is Kenya Hilda is a committee or a delegates committee?
Kenya Hilda is committee chair.
Okay, so sorry. Okay, maybe before that, since there are no questions at all, maybe we should maybe the committee can share screen regarding to the MUN command. Okay. So first of all, greetings, delegates. Welcome to the UN Women Council once more. And hi, my name is Tracy Teddy, and I'll be your chair today. I'm looking for a fruitful and substantive debate today, and I don't have actually a specific agenda, but mostly into discussions, since I know we have a lot to discuss. You have to see a lot of perspective on UN women as well. So probably we can first go to the roll call. Okay, can we go to the roll call first? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to have a roll call on the countries. Afghanistan, are you present or present and voting?
Delegation of Afghanistan is present and voting.
Great. Delegates of Austria. Delegates of Austria. I see the delegates of Austria is absent committee. Delegates of Brazil.
Present and voting here.
Present and voting. Thank you. Delegates of China.
Present and voting.
Present and voting. Thank you. Colombia.
The delegate of Colombia is present and voting chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Delegates of Finland.
Present and voting, Chair.
Present and voting. Thank you. Delegates of India.
India is present.
India is present. Delegates of Indonesia. Indonesia is not coming. Delegates of Japan.
Delegates from Japan is present and voting.
Okay, thank you so much. Delegates of Pakistan.
Delegate of Pakistan is present.
Present. Delegates of Poland.
Present and voting, Chair.
Poland is present and voting. Delegates of Sudan.
Present and voting.
Sudan is present and voting. Delegates of Turkey.
Delegate of Turkey is present. Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, present or present? and
Delegate of Turkey is present. Thank you.
Present. Okay. Delegates of United Kingdom.
Present and voting, Chair. Thank you.
United Kingdom is present and voting. United States.
Present and voting. Thank you.
Present and voting. Okay, done. Okay. Okay. So we're going to a general speaker list, just like as usual. So is there any delegate who wish to be added into the general speakers list? You can raise your hand. Okay. Delegates of Afghanistan.
Yes.
Sorry, committee. Oh no, I was like mentioning your countries. Okay. Yes, Afghanistan, United Kingdom, Brazil, USA, okay, Pakistan, Colombia, Turkey, Afghanistan, you have been recognized, so you can just unraise your hand. Poland, India, Japan, and Finland. So we'll be having like 2 minutes committee session for, committee. We will be having like 2 minutes of journals. Yeah, 2 minutes, okay. So, delegates of Afghanistan, Pakistan, you have been recognized, right?
Okay, thank you, Chair. Is it possible to change the time to 90 seconds only?
That was in order. If it's can you change it into 1 minute and 30 seconds, committee?
Sorry, Chair, point of order. We don't consent to this. Maybe we can take this to voting.
Okay, so if it's okay, then we can take it into voting. So those who are actually agreeing or in favor with 1 minute and 30 seconds general speakers list, please raise your hand. Before that, committee, can you check on how many is the procedural voting for this council? Is it 7 or 9? The procedural. How many is it? 7. So since we have like only 5 delegates who are raising their hands, so this favor doesn't pass. So we still have 2 minutes. And Afghanistan, you have 2 minutes. You may start now.
Thank you so much for the time. To the distinguished chairperson of the audience and representatives from several countries in the world, I, as a representative of Afghanistan delegation, are honored to stand here to convey my opinions from Afghanistan state on the issue of the role of women, with the theme of session is increasing the role of women in political participation. I am standing in front of you all, not an expert in human rights women, but I am a citizen who cares about solving gender equality in the world. I will express my opinion on the issue of the role of women on political participation. Debating about the role of women in political participation, the often occur in one of the most important issues for the people around the world, especially for women who are always considered less capable of taking action in the political sphere. We as international community certainly can't ignore the problem of equality, gender equality, gender inequality, and cases of discrimination against women which are increasing by the day in various parts of the world, which of course can result in the loss of political rights to be elected and to be voted for every citizen without exception, regardless of a status. And in Afghanistan, the gender equality is lower. According to the World Bank, only 10 countries in the world offer full legal protecting in human, all of them in the Northern Hemisphere, and Afghanistan has the lowest score in the term of women's rights worldwide at 3.38%. Thank you. Back to the chair.
Okay. Before that, Afghanistan, you have to say your country's name in a third person, not using I, and you should form into your country's name, not your. And I guess we can next to United Kingdom.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. In the status quo, women are being systematically excluded from the political force, whether because they do not have actual political participation, because they are being rendered ineligible to run for political office, or because they have been disincentivized from participating as voters in first place, because the systems that are in the status quo inherently prevents women from actually exceeding. And that is the big glass wall that is faced by many women leaders in the status quo, right? Delegates, the United Kingdom has many previous female prime ministers in the world, but we think that this is a privilege that not many countries has, and that needs to change immediately. That is the status quo at the moment, right, delegates? So there are many solutions that we can propose into this, but let's first remember that the UN Women Mandate in itself is recommendatory in nature. That means that countries here must act in good faith to actually implement any solutions that we put forward. Now, firstly, we have to not be afraid to call out countries that have been taking part in the complicity of women's right deterioration, right? Because many countries here in the status quo are actively preventing women from participating in the parliament, from even running for office, and that needs to change. We need to hold these countries accountable. That's number one. But number two, we also need to improve their opportunities to participate in the political sphere, whether it's through affirmative action or through the quota system. Either one is fine. This is not mutually exclusive. These are just two options that can be done. But we think thirdly is that the problem is not the lack of solution. The problem is the lack of will for governments to implement these solutions, because we've been discussing this issue for decades now. There are already solutions in place. The problem is that countries do not want to listen to these solutions, and they make no effort to change this situation right now.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, delegates of United Kingdom. Next is the delegates of Brazil. We have 2 minutes, start around.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognitions, honorable chairs, and distinguished delegates. Women's leaderships and the political participations are very, very limited at all levels that are starting from the regionals to the global sectors. Because women are unrepresented as voters and in the positions of leadership, whether in their surrounding like civil service, in the democracy itself also face several barriers to the political participation, because women political participation is still hampered by structural barriers such as discriminatory laws and also the institutions. And because of that, where women's political participations itself advance the gender equality by influencing both of the range of the policy issues that are considered and also the type of the solution that we'll propose later on. And also, according to some of the research itself, whether the legislature is male or females, it will have a significant impact on their policy priorities. So because of that, there is also compiling evidence that as more women are elected to public office, there is an increasing in policy making for the priority of the quality of life, and also it will reflect to the priority of their families, women, and also the ethnicity and also the racial minorities. Thank you, cheers.
Okay, you still have like 28 seconds. Who would you like to yield to?
Back to the chairs. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegates of Brazil. Next up is the Delegates of United States. You have 2 minutes. Start from now.
Oh, sorry. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. Thank you for the recognition. The United States of America believe that presence of women in the participation in politics will be influential in helping advance gender equality and influence both of various issues that will be considered and the type of solution will be proposed. Like as the Delegate of Brazil also mentioned that the studies show that whether a legislator is a male or female has a significant impact on their policy priorities, right? Okay, in order to meet the worldwide development goals and building strong, sustainable democracy, women must be encouraged, empowered, and support and becoming strong political in the community leader. So the United States has lagged behind the most established democracy in the term of women representation in politics. To tackling women underrepresentation in U.S. politics, there is steps to ensure equal access to political office in the United States, with institute mandatory or voluntary requirement, target for the political parties, and a well-resourced party mechanism to identify and require support women candidates. I would like to give back to the chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Delegates of USA. Delegates of Pakistan.
Thank you, Chair. Distinguished delegate. Let me start from our national member legislative quote, which is ending violence against women is government top priority. It is time to recognize the role of women and step and ensure equal participation of women legislation. The effort are needed to bring them into mandatory. As a Kaiser, National Assembly member of Pakistan. One of the classic problems in gender equality is the violence and discrimination, right? And how about the women participation? This is why we need women participation, because we need the perspective of it to decrease, to prevent, and to eradicate the discrimination and any other negative action toward women, right? So in Pakistan, we have 20% at least in our legislative member, but in our executive member, it's still only 12%. So we are still lacking executive, but we are trying to gain more in legislative. And also, we are ranking 100 between 190 countries, so according to the World Economic Forum in gender gap number in 2020, if you want to know our profile. And also we are trying to recognize the women status and right into our laws, national laws, and also we are trying to increase the awareness of women to participate, because it is not easy, especially for the conservative countries, to having women to participate more and more into the leadership position. So what Pakistan would like to try to entertain is our lack of women participation. The root cause is because of our gender equality is lack of the local value or local mechanism. So our gender equality is only work for Western country, and we will discuss about that later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Delegates of Pakistan. Delegates of Colombia.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. The Republic of Colombia believes that the limitation of women's opportunity to take part in political participation is an urgent issue, especially as a country where 50.9% of the population are female. Women's roles in public decision-making process are needed as much as men. Women's participation in politics are manifesting the ideal form of gender equality and democracy. Furthermore, women's role in politics create an approaches to citizen needs from different party and ethnic line. And unfortunately, women are likely struggling with the male-dominated politics, economic, social stereotype, and also cultural barriers in order to take part in political participation. That's why it is our duty as part of the international community to encourage and support them to develop their leadership skill and also removing the gender gap, especially in public decision-making process by establishing the rule of law and mechanism regarding women political participation. Thank you, Chair. I would like to yield the time to Chair. Thank you.
Okay, Delegates of Colombia, please revert to your third countries. Third name countries. And let's go to the next speaker, the Delegates of Turkey.
Chair, is my voice audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, thank you. Delegates, members of the House, for how many times, for how long should we really discuss about women's representation in politics again and again? Please do consider that what we want is an impactful female leaders at the end of the day. We do not really care actually about how they achieve that impact. We consider and we agree that politics is an impactful way for females to connect with the society and therefore can produce impactful policy towards the society. But the question then is, should everyone at the end of the day be the political leaders? Should every female become the political leaders in their own way? We want to say that so far we have ensured several solutions in UN Women. We have ensured the gender quota. We have tried to use several different election systems to promote women and make sure that they are elected. But so far, the increase is only in number. The fact is, women is only placed in non-strategic or non-impactful roles. So far, in fact, if we are looking into data in 2020 per UN Women, only Sub-Saharan Africa and Western Asia who enjoys the huge increase in their women representation after thousands of amounts of our discussion so far. So what we are going to do, and we should do, is we have to decide whether we want to nurture future female leaders through the usual stages of politicians, or we want to release and give them freedom to select their own way. That's why the Delegate of Turkey would like to propose the solution of global impactful women leaders. We want to open the horizon of women, that being politician is good, but you have to consider several factors, such as the inflexibility of time, because we have to admit that being female or being women, you need flexibility of time to take care of your family and so on. We can accept and we can receive the fact that in Turkey, it's still been a case to be solved, but we want to discuss later on for the delegates. So please consider the whole discussion that's going so far. And this
time is up.
Thank you.
Okay. Before that, is there any delegates who wish to be added on a junior speakers list? Please raise your hand. Delegates of Pakistan, delegates of UK. Delegates of UK, delegates of India, oh, India, you're on the list already. Delegates of Poland, Poland is already on the list as well. Brazil, delegates of Turkey, Poland, you are already on the list. So you're after this as well. Poland, you have 2 minutes. Start from now.
Thanks for recognition, Chair. Republic of Poland has involved women in politics since 1991. In those years, the proportion of women elected to the lower chamber of parliament was 9%, and the higher chamber women held 8% of the seat. At the time, the presence of women still had far less influence than statistics may suggest. Usually, they do not represent the interests of women, and for the most part, but only play a role in the result of parliamentary meetings. And Delegate Poland has believed globally it is provide the increasing the role of women in political participation remains an important unsolved issue around the world because an inclusive democracy means that all citizens should feel represented in the herd. Thank you, Chair. Back to Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Delegates of Poland. Last up, we will be entertaining one more speakers. It's the Delegates of India. Delegates of India.
Yes.
Okay, you have 2 minutes. Start from now.
Thank you, Chair, for the recommendation. The Honorable distinguished delegates and Chairperson, the delegate would like to take this time to thank the Chair for giving this delightful opportunity. The delegation is looking forward to meeting fellow delegates and signing and reading the resolution, not to mention countless friendship. More than one in every 2 Indians says that women and make equally good political leaders, and over 1 in every 10 believe women generally make better political leader than men. This survey conducted among 30,000 adults in India. Survey Indian attitude toward general. India has had powerful female politicians, with some of them managing to ascend to top political posts nationally and regionally, including president and prime minister. Indira Gandhi, for instance, India's first and only female prime minister to date, was a dominant political figure in the country from 1966 to 1984. Despite studies showing widespread public acceptance of female politicians, women political participation remain low. According to a 2020 report by the Association of Democratic Reform and National Election Watch, less than a tenth of over 50,000 candidates contesting federal and state election are women. Political scene is male bastion. This is a serious problem where we need to encourage more women to be the political figure because they are not just eligible to be the leader, but they are also should be accepted to be the leader. Therefore, we would like to join hands with other fellow Congress in interest to addressing the problem that we currently have and aspire for a better future of gender equality. Finally, the delegate hopes for a fruitful conference with an even more productive outcome.
Okay, since you have only like 3 minutes, it means yield back to the chair. Since we entertain like 10 delegate speakers on dinner speakers list, lastly, Japan, you will have like 2 minutes from now as the last delegates. Are you audible? Are you here?
Yes.
You have 2 minutes, start from now.
Okay, thank you, Chair, for the recognition. The issues of women's role in political participation is common challenge and needs synergy from government, NGO, advocates, institution, community, and so on. This is a complicated problem in regarding the lack of women's participation in political affairs. There is a clear symmetry between the participation of men and women. This phenomenon has actually occurred for a long time due to the previous perception that women are not suitable to take good leadership positions or civil servants. In fact, this also extends to the private sector and academia. Such a downward perception emphasizes that Japanese women, specifically, are subservient to men and must face forward to do household chores. This means that society still upholds traditional values, including patriarchal culture. Such perception is in line with the teachings of Confucianism, where these teachings explain the way of life and towards other people, including in the form of boundaries between man and woman, which are reviewed will lead to unfair treatment. Departing from the gender stereotypes above, this phenomenon indicates discrimination, which eventually causes a gap or a gender inequality. So we need to take serious action and high commitment to enhancing awareness and understanding of the importance of gender equality at an early age and socializations at the education level. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, you have like 18 minutes, 17 minutes. Who would you like to yield the time to?
No, it's enough.
Okay, so you have to say it, you yield back to the chair or Are you yielding back to the chair? Japan?
No. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Chair.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so we're going to move to the motor caucus. Is there any motions from delegates? Delegates of Brazil?
Okay, thank you, Chair. The delegates of Brazil would like to propose a motion for moderated caucus with the topic about the root causes of the issue about women political participation.
Root cause of issues, if I'm not wrong. Is it true?
I will type it on the chat box, Chair,
Sure.
to make it easy.
Everyone, to make it easy, maybe, yeah, sure. Okay, so can you put it up, committee? Yes, true. How many minutes?
Is it possible for 15 to 1.5, Chair?
It's in order. Okay. 90
Thank you,
minutes,
Chair.
yeah, 15 minutes and 90 seconds. 1 minute and 30 seconds, true. Okay. From Brazil, true. Okay, next up, the delegates of UK.
Thank you, Chair. We propose a 20-minute moderated caucus with 2 minutes of individual speakers' time on the topic of evaluating the metric of success for women's political participation. It's also in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Committee, can you copy? Pass? Okay. It's 20 minutes.
Yes, Chair, 20 to 2.
22, okay. Another one is the delegates of Pakistan.
Thank you, Chair. This delegate would like to propose a motion like in the chat box. Each country women participation problem. The total time is 18 minutes and per speaker is 90 seconds.
Okay, 18 minutes and 1 minute is 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds below that. Yes, and the topic is on the Zoom chat committee. Each country women participation problem. Yes. It's from the delegates of Pakistan. Okay. Okay, so where's the motions of the UK one? Okay, so yes, it's 20 seconds and 2 minutes. True. It's from the delegates of UK. Nice. So we have been entertaining like 3 motions, and so the delegates of Afghanistan, Turkey, and Colombia, please unraise your hand. You can actually ask for later another motions. We have been entertaining 3 motions right now, and the most disruptive motions comes from the delegates of United Kingdom. Bear in mind, delegates, in order to pass the motions, we need 7 votes from the delegates. So if you guys are in favor with these motions, please raise your hand. Delegates of UK motions, evaluating the metric of success for women's political participation. Bear in mind, delegates, we need 7 votes to pass the motion. We only have 3 delegates raising their hands, so these motions fail. Okay, so we put up second one. Most disruptive motions comes from Pakistan. In the topic of its country women participation problem, we need 7 votes. If you guys are in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, we have 8 delegates are raising their hands, so these motions pass. Delegates of Pakistan, are you going to speak on first or on the last?
First, please.
Pakistan is on first, and then, so we will be having like 17 delegates in favor to speak on these motions. Please raise your hand. Japan, Delegates of Brazil, Delegates of UK, Delegates of Turkey, Delegates of India, Delegates of Afghanistan, Delegates of Poland, Delegates of Sudan. Poland, you have been recognized, so you can just unraise your hand. Can I see how many? Okay, Delegates of USA. How many is it? We have actually remaining 8 speakers later, so we'll be entertaining later on. So, Pakistan, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now.
Thank you, Chair. This delegate would like to say that why this topic is really important, because Delegate of Pakistan believe each country has their own unique problem, and that's why the previous international past action is failed, right? Because if we are talking in regard of the UK statement, in regard of the quote or the quorum, in regard of the women participation, we already have the resolution from the ECOSOC in 1990, number 15, regarding the minimum quota or quorum for the women participation, 30%. And if we are talking in regard of the protection for women from discrimination and trying to increase the women participation, we already have the UNGA resolution in 2011, which is already trying to specify the women participation, and also regarding from the UNGA and another UNGA resolution. So that is why the Delegate of Pakistan would like to hear about regarding and from the other state. And the Delegate of Pakistan would like to say, in Pakistan, the problem is there are some unique conservative understanding in regard the women should not be a leader. That's why we are trying to raising the participation from the ideology and from the gender equality concept itself. We want to reorientation. Having the gender equality is adjust on can fit with the conservative social culture, so it will be fit. And later on, we would like to hear another delegate. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Delegates of Pakistan. Next up is Delegates of Japan. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now.
Thank you, Chair. This issue is important to raise because Japan is still in the issues. This is further clarified based on a survey from Narson Inglehart declared regarding women's political participation worldwide. The result of their survey stated that Japan, Taiwan, and South Korea showed lower support for women in political affairs. Although the Japanese government provides opportunities for women to get positions in political affairs, the facts reveal that the state associates politics with power, in which men are more appropriate in that context. In the current situation, there has been no significant change regarding gender equality. It's evidenced by the Global Gender Gap 2021 reported by the World Economic Forum that Japan is ranked 120 out of 166 gender equality. Thank you.
Okay. Next up is the Delegates of Brazil. Delegates of Brazil, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. So regarding the issues of the women's political participations that happens in Brazil itself, because the status from each of the women is also being reviewed because they are considered as the underrepresented itself. The reason why their status is being reviewed by the government itself, why? Because it is considered as 2 factors, which is included, such as it is divided into the supply side factors, and also the second one is the demand side factors, where all of these factors itself will include every woman's in potential in Brazil itself to lower down their willingness to run the political activity, where it can include the voter and also the leader prejudice that against women in politics, and also the understanding of the issues from the women's under representations in the political activities. And also this activity is very crucial because it can help to determine the governments to know what are the most effective policies to address the issues of the existing gender gap. So in conclusion, the delegates of Brazil would like to conclude that all of the policy that have been proposed or implemented by these governments are being used women in politics for their effectiveness to solve this issue. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Delegates of Brazil. Next up is the Delegate of United Kingdom. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. So some things to note on the model that delegates are laying down. Firstly, we understand that each country has its own unique problems to this situation, right? We want to make this motion more productive by having delegates recognize linkages between their own domestic issues with the existing international division on women's rights. For example, if Pakistan says that the issues are down to conservative factors, we think this sentiment can also be applied broadly to most of the global South countries in this chamber. Even in the UK, even when we had women leaders in the past, their legitimacy also suffers from negative sentiments, often originating from conservative factors, right? We think it'll be extremely productive if we can then discuss the relationship between women's rights and conservative values. For instance, what will we consider a success for a metric of women political participation? Say, if the global South countries like Pakistan suddenly have a women leader that espouse conservative values, is this still considered a success for UN women? Or is our solutions inherently geared towards women making progressive sentiments, making progressive legislation that inherently is anti-conservative, right? That is why, delegates, we really want to bring forward what is your metric of success for women's political participation? Is it just by increasing the number of women in parliament, or is it actually on the values that they espouse and the actions that these women political leaders will be making in the near future? That is a question posed for all delegates. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegates of UK. Next up is the Delegate of Turkey.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Chair. Echoing the statement coming from Delegate of the United Kingdom, we truly agree that we have to discuss about the root causes. But delegates, please consider that up until right now, when we have implemented so many gender quotas with so many variations in different member states, we have achieved up to 40% of average of members of female in local deliberative bodies in our member states. But out of those 46%, only 5 to 21% can achieve executive head positions. There's been only a fifth of our past female leaders in politics that's achieved the executive head positions in politics so far. What has become the main trouble in Turkey is due to our conservative culture, which we do not want to deny. We want all members in our family to produce and to contribute to the financial stability of our family. And that is the primary reason of what Delegate of Turkey proposed the solution to reconfigure our concept of what we truly want to achieve. What we want to achieve is, in fact, impactful female leader, and not everyone should be a politician. That is why we have to help the candidates of female political leaders to really identify whether they want to commit towards this world and what kind of pathway that they want to achieve, so that we can help them in details of how step by step they will achieve. And we would like to discuss it in the future motion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Delegates of Turkey. Next up is the Delegate of India.
Yes, thank you.
You have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. To overcome issues of discrimination and violence, women's organizations focus on the empowerment of Indian women. Empowerment is tied to the support of family and improved status within the household, which is undermined by the threat of cosmetic and sexual violence. Socioeconomic conditions such as poverty and illiteracy prevent the entrance of women being into running for political office and even voting itself. Inability to understand the roles of anti work undermine the self-confidence to participation in public office. Empowerment of Indian women can also occur through bridging gaps in education, renegotiating gender roles, the gender division of labor, and addressing biased attitudes. The government of India has addressed the issues of empowerment by consolidating all programs for women under the National Mission of Empowerment of Women in NEW. The mission of NEW is to enhance economic empowerment of girls and women through skill development, microcredit, vocational training, and entrepreneurship. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegates of India. Next up It's Delegate of Afghanistan. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now. Delegates of Afghanistan. Delegates of Afghanistan, are you here? I think the delegates of Afghanistan is missing. Okay, let's just put Afghanistan later, and let's have Poland first. The delegates of Poland, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, delegates of Poland, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now.
Thanks for recognition, Chair. The delegation of Poland believe that the facts that each country woman participation problem is caused by the lack of woman leadership in some area is caused by cultural factors, stereotypes, marginalization, subordination, and double burdens. Even though they should have access and participation in various development fields, including politics, so that women can feel the benefit of the development, starting from the process of preparation, implementation, to evaluation of development program. Women participation in police in currently only around 17% and has not reached 13%. According to get target, we have the representation of women is still very, very little, especially in this land. Of Poland, there is no mayor or no female leader. Therefore, it is in the hands of students, of college students who will become future leaders to equalize women. Thank you, Chair, and back to Chair.
Okay, so probably Poland. We have some kind of yielding on the moderate caucus, so you can just say like finish or things like that. So you don't have to say like yield back to the chair or yield back to another delegates. Thank you. And delegates of before that, is there any delegates who wish to be added on the speakers? Since we have like 8 remaining delegates to talk here. Delegates of Pakistan. Delegates of UK. We need 6 more delegates to speak here. Delegates of Turkey. One. I assume there's one. So delegates of Sudan. Delegates of Sudan, are you here? Okay, delegates of Brazil wishes to be added on as speakers. Seconds, start.
When we talk about women political participation, it's easy for us to imagine empty seats around the decision table, and a little more difficult picture to the seats. There is a growing there are chance that women in 2020 are marginalized from the political and public life. In the past few years, we've seen this play out in the high-profile election in the US and around the world. Women are putting themselves forward for the election more and more, yet their numbers are still far behind those of men. Why this is the case, even though it's widely accepted that development, peace, and prosperity in the society cannot be achieved without the help of the world populations. Women continue to be sidelined in the decision-making. The stigma against women in the politics is still alive and well. They continue to face structural, socio-economic, and the institutional and the cultural barriers. I think that's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, delegates of United States.
to reply in regard of the UK. Yes, it's good if we have a success metric, or yeah, we have indicator. Maybe the delegate of Pakistan would like to suggest in regard of we have to how many policies tend to having a positive trend to women participation and the other positive contribution. And so, yeah, for variable for the qualitative, which will be the increase of the women human resource in regard of the UN women value, which is women empowerment, right? So yeah, it is will be good if we are put those variable. Also, the we are trying to measure the women participation like we are always do, right? So qualitative and quantitative should be like a same coin, separated. But also, if some countries are, as they are maybe conservative country, could not like achieve quantitative but qualitative, sorry, we can also try to measure first with using the quantitative. So yeah, maybe it will be better if we have innovation right there rather than having repetition and redundancy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, delegates of Pakistan. Next up is delegates of United Kingdom.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. UK will actually go against the grain here and say that we much prefer a progressive male politician who will actively propose laws that will benefit women's rights compared to a conservative female politician who actively becomes the mouthpiece for the patriarchy and actually takes actions that are against women's rights. Because delegates, once again, it comes down to the metric of success. Do we just want all kinds of women to be in parliament regardless of their values? So for example, as what we've given the example before, if let's say Pakistan has a woman leader, but that woman leader is a conservative woman leader who espouses patriarchal values and is also anti-feminism, is this going to be considered a success for UN Women or not? Because considering that the topic here is enhancing women political participation, to what extent is that success going to be defined? And we're going to say, no, we don't just want women in parliament, we want feminist politicians who will be actively imposing and implementing laws that will support women's rights in general. That is what we're going to portray here. That is our stance, delegates. That's why we're saying we are much preferring, let's say, a male feminist politician compared to a conservative female politician. That is the perspective that we want to bring here, delegates. Because when we say we want to enhance women's political participation, it does not necessarily mean putting all the women in the table. It means having politicians that cares about women's rights. That is the impact we want to bring, delegates.
Okay, delegates of UK, your time is enough. Next up is delegate of Turkey. Delegates of Turkey, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, delegates of Turkey, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now.
Thank you, Chair. A bit surprising, actually, hearing it coming from Delegate of the United Kingdom, but nevertheless, we can agree with the essence of the argument that what we want is an impactful leaders, of female leaders in politics. But what we want to really question towards the Delegate of the United Kingdom is the metrics, the success metric, the term that you say, towards measuring the feminism of your proposed leaders. We can agree that we can see, like, for example, towards their backgrounds or their threats and so on, but we want to hear, like, how do you identify? Because remember that we believe the one who would be the best to fight for women is themselves, because they are the one who know themselves. They are the one who suffers towards the years of being segregated, being seen as the second gender, and so on. What we want in politics is people who can feel and understand comprehensively what is going on and what is the proper policy that can impact the leader. For sure, there are various male leaders who understand that female should be represented. But if we want to compare which one would we want, then we believe that delegates know the answer. Nevertheless, what we should discuss in the next motion, we believe, because it's then elapsed, is how do we do it step by step. This is the main emphasis, because we've provided like tons of working papers about gender quotas, and it not worked so far. Look at the data, look at the working paper. So let's discuss it in the future motion. Thank you.
Okay, your time is enough. Delegates of Turkey. Next speaker is the Delegates of Colombia. Are you here?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, Delegates of Colombia, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now.
Gender equality political practice was established since the first time Colombia allowed women's suffrage and right during the election back in 1954. The Republic of Colombia only women there are minister position in the Republic of Colombia government in 2021. Unfortunately,
can we see how many delegates remaining? It's Brazil. So is there delegates of Sudan and Afghanistan on this conference? Delegates of Afghanistan, you're on the floor actually. Can we please put Afghanistan after Brazil? Because she has been skipped. How about delegates of Sudan? Delegates of Sudan. The delegates of Sudan is here, but she's missing. So maybe we can just entertain that first. Delegates of Colombia, are you here?
yes, sir.
Delegates of Colombia, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now.
Sorry, Chair, I just got the chance to speak.
Yes, true.
Yeah, I just got my speech before. I already got my speech.
Oh, you have your speech already, so
Yeah.
you're showing yourself? Oh, yeah, sorry, Brazil, I mean. So delegates of Brazil, are you here?
Yes, Chair.
Yes, delegates of Brazil, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. So the underrepresentations of the women in the decision-making spheres is one of the most persistent challenges for the democracy in Brazil itself, because there is in total from the 51% of the populations, just in total of 15% of the members of the parliaments are women, and around 1.6% of the parliaments are as the young women. So this is considered as similar in states and also the legislature, especially regarding the very low representations of the Brazilians and also the indigenous women. So one of the strategy that can be implemented from the Brazil countries itself is these countries will have projects in order to strengthen the capacities of every woman's politicians and also the advocates by hosting like 2 conventing activity for every woman's leaders from the diverse backgrounds and the political parties in each of the countries itself. Not only that, this country also can discuss about what are the most affirmative actions in order to increase the participations in the electoral processes, and perhaps when during the discussion itself, they can share the key learning and also the strategies about on how to run the success campaign and also engage to another woman itself. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, delegates of Brazil. Next up is the delegates of Afghanistan, and we can start from now. Yeah, let's start from now. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now.
Thank you for the recognition, Chair. We as the international community cannot ignore the problem of the role of women, which is occur and give the negative impact it has on countries in the world itself. Like the delegates from Pakistan said, in patriarchy culture is bringing the negative impact for their citizens. And gender inequality is clearly visible in the country with patriarchal culture, including Afghanistan. All major institutions in Afghanistan are controlled by men. This shows that the role of women in entering politics is still minimal, with the stereotype that women in Afghanistan cannot work like men with limited education support. In addition, the types of cases of violence against women become the worst, bringing the position of women to the lowest position according to the Taliban. The Taliban headlines gender discrimination with what distinguishes them from other anti-girls groups in Afghanistan or elsewhere. They ban women from working outside their home, ban girls educate after years deny women their rights to political participation. So I think that's not give their positive to women. Thank you. Back to the chair.
Okay, so there are no yielding on moderate caucus, Afghanistan. So we can entertain one more speaker, actually. So if any delegates who wish to speak, okay, delegates of UK. Delegates of UK, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now.
Thank you, Chair. As what we've said, we prefer a feminist male politician over a conservative women politician. But of course, we prefer a feminist woman politician over all else. That is, of course, the main idea. So please do not take our statements out of context, delegates. What we're trying to say is that the end goal that the UK wants is feminism. We want women's rights to be upheld. We want Parliament to pass legislation that supports women's rights. Now, we think that the problem in the status quo is that we have women in Parliament. It's just that these women in Parliament are not necessarily working towards the progression of women's rights. In a sense, for example, the tokenization of women by conservative political parties to show that they are diverse, even though their policies are actively working against women's rights. For example, say the female judge that voted in favor of Roe v. Wade, we think that that itself is not something that the UN Women should platform, right? Because at the end of the day, we need to make sure that women's rights is the center point for all. We think at the end of the day, we have to be very careful about the tokenization of women in Parliament and make sure that when we actually have women in power, that they can implement legislation that can actually benefit women's rights as a whole. That means what we're looking at, delegates, is what is the end goal that we're looking for? Are we going to, what is the future goal that we want to achieve? And we want that to be clarified very clearly in the next few motions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, delegates of UK. So we're going back to moderate caucus again. Sorry, yeah. We're going to motions again. So is there any delegates who wish to raise their motions? I see. Okay, delegates of Afghanistan.
Yes, I want to give the moderate caucus with the topic is sustainable development interaction on women's political participation, with the duration is 10 minutes and individual speaking time is 2 minutes.
So Afghanistan, can you please write your motions on the Zoom chat, if it's possible?
Yes.
Yes. Is it 10 minutes for 2 minutes it's speaking time?
Yes.
So you only allow like 5 people speaking? Don't you want it to maybe try to extend more time for that? Okay, let's just go with it. So no worries. Sustainable development instructions on women political participation. It's 10 minutes to, yes. Submitted by Afghanistan. Okay, next up is the Delegate of Turkey.
Thank you, Chair, for the time. Delegate of Turkey would like to propose a motion of 15 minutes to 1 point halves each speaking time. The title would be Pathway Towards Impactful Female Leaders. I would also type it to make it more convenient. Thank you.
It's 15 minutes, right? Sorry, Turkey, is it for 15 minutes?
Oh, sorry. Yes, 15 minutes and 1.5 each.
So topic is pathway. Yes, submitted. Delegates of Poland.
Okay, Delegate Poland in the topic women in democracy, the political participation of women.
Can you please
will chat in the book.
Women in democracy.
Democracy, the political participation of women.
Can we just put it like the political participation of women?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
For how many minutes?
Duration 15.
15.
Yeah.
Two.
2 minutes.
Oh, it's not possible. So if you wanted to take 2 minutes, it must be like at least 16 or
1 minute. 1 minute.
okay, 1 minute. Yes, it's from Poland, submitted. So we have 3 motions in sum. The most disruptive motions come from Poland. And bear in mind, delegates, in order to pass the motions, we need 7 votes from the delegates. So if you are on favor with the motions brought by Poland regarding to the topics of the political participation of women, please raise your hand. We need 7 votes to pass the motions. Going tries. Okay, this motion is failed. Second one, the most disruptive motions come from the delegates of Turkey, right? Yes, the delegates of Turkey, talking about the pathway towards impactful female leader. So if you're in favor with these motions, please raise your hand. We need 7 votes to pass the motions. We have 8 votes already, so this motion is passed. Delegates of Turkey, are you going to speak on first or on the last?
First, please.
Delegates of Turkey would like to speak on first, and we will be entertaining foreign. How many delegates is it?
9, I believe.
Okay, 9 delegates. We will be entertaining 9 more delegates. And please raise your hand if you wanted to add it up on the speakers. Delegates of Pakistan, delegates of UK, delegates of Brazil. We have 6 more slots, delegates. Okay, delegates of Finland. Poland, delegates of Poland. Another delegates, please. We have 3 more slots. Delegates of Colombia. And 2 more slots. If you're not going to raise your hand, then I'm going to choose. Delegates of Afghanistan. 1 more, please. Delegates of USA. Okay. Thank you for your participation, delegates. Delegates of Turkey, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you also, delegates, for finally accepting this motion. When we are discussing about the pathway towards impactful female leaders, we can agree partially with the delegate of United Kingdom that we should construct a parliament where people are endorsing female leaders also, and female society in general. But what we should consider is that how many households are actually endorsing their female children, their girls to be political leaders one day. What we should consider, delegates, members of the House, is that in conservative culture, we are afraid that our girls are walking alone on the street. We are afraid that our girls are not without protection of the man. That is the essence of why we should create a step-by-step pathway towards creating impactful female leader. The first path, or the first phase that we want to introduce, is name, purpose, alignment. We want to propose and incentivize all member states here to really conduct like a comprehensive program to propose political career as an option towards the girls, or even in the school or the local community. This is because two things. Number one, right now SDGs target is mainly towards constructing local leaders. So what we need now is to make them leading their own local community. A second is to provide them with options that if you want to be a political leader, then these are the benefits, these are the weaknesses, and we want a consented position.
Time is up. Next up is the delegate of Pakistan. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now.
Thank you, distinguished delegate. The delegate would like to say yes for the non apple to apple by the UK in the previous session, but yeah, we would like to focus on the women, and also would like to not trying to separate the ideology, because ideology is invisible, right? So yeah, let's focus on the women participation regardless the ideology of the women itself, to make our topic more specific. And what the delegate of Pakistan would like to say is, how can we just trying to having a solution? Just for example, delegate of Pakistan having a struggle, and also in maybe for the several countries like conservative or maybe Islamic countries, which the political parties cannot to having register their candidates to national election because of their think that women cannot win the election. So how can you and women try to make the women having a same chance, and also can win the election, so the women could not lose their hope into joining the women leader participation and the other chance to being leadership position. So how can we are just trying to propose our solution? It is up to you, delegate, and you can also put your solution, and also we can combine it later on, and we can find the root cause and having a better solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, delegates of Pakistan. Next up is the delegates of United Kingdom. Okay, started.
We want to frame this motion in a way we don't just want any female leader, we want an impactful feminist leader. And that is the biggest distinction that we're trying to make here. Because Delegate of Pakistan says that ideology is invisible, we don't dispute that characterization. It is fine. But we dispute the comparative that we prefer a visible amount of women, even if they might not necessarily do much to further women's rights. Why? Because it is entirely possible for us to have a women leader and still don't have women rights in a country. That is entirely possible because, as what we said, ideology is invisible. We have conservative women being platformed by conservative countries on the basis that we are diverse, we are progressive, but actually the solutions that they're implementing is actually very restrictive towards women's rights. That is not something that we want, right? We want, at the end of the day, for any leader and any government that will be platformed by UN Women to actually be progressive towards women's rights. That means that they will approve of female candidates, of course, but more importantly, that they will dispute the stereotype that women cannot be good leaders in power because they have children, because they have household burdens. We want to disprove that entirely, and that is why we're actually emphasizing that ideology at the end of the day should be the basic framework onto which the solutions are built upon, because it's not just enough to have women in parliaments, it's more important that these people in parliament care for women and make policies to reflect that.
Okay, your time is up. Delegates of UK. Next speaker is the delegate of Brazil. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. So, what the delegates of Brazil believe that when we are talking about the pathways for us to measure the success of impactful leader, this delegate believe that the gender should be determined based on the individual leadership abilities. Because when we are talking about the pathways that can impactful women as leaders, we can consider and we can assess the pathway itself by the leadership potential by evaluating of individual strengths and also personality traits itself. However, most of the women in every country itself are not encouraged to assume that leadership as one of the roles as much as their males in every country itself, because their contribution itself have more dynamic powers in their own countries. So from the delegates of Brazil believe that one of the pathways to discuss is we as a woman, as a leaders, needs to have a true discussions of ourselves, and we need to have a reflections on towards what are we going to determine and how to deal with the gender bias itself. So from there, we can know what are from the issue itself. We can know what kinds of the solutions later on we can implement. Thank you, chairs.
Okay, thank you, Delegates of Brazil. Next up is Delegate of Finland. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Okay, Delegate of Finland believes that women, if they have chance to make some impactful for them, the solution is we can give their way to reach it. I think I'm sorry, like some promotion at and platform so they can develop their skill. Then delegate belief provide self-development for them, such as scholarship or college scholarship in order to develop their skills. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Delegates of Finland. Next speaker is the Delegate of Poland. Delegates of Poland.
Here.
You have 1 minute and start.
Okay, thank you. The delegation Poland women had held position there, but the leader there are obstacle but in reality hinder access to the leadership, including issue of gender and injustice. In Poland, gender does not yet have an equivalent word, so it is still used. Inherent and socially and cultural concern, manifestation of gender inequality, economic property, for example, with land use change, women can use women in area where wages are lower for women. Subordination, stereotyping, violence, more work because it is considered and have various leadership positions, but and functional. What really matters is whether the leader is a gender perspective. Therefore, in visionary things in your chip.
Is leadership program alongside the civic education at school and also for the women in productive age. And then the second one is creating positive political environment to encourage women to take a part. In order to support the positive political environment, we have to establishing the laws and policies of women's rights. And this also including the mechanism to promoting women's rights to be part of the political system, especially to become a leader. The delegate of Colombia believe that if we created a nice and creative political environment, then women will have the courage to take a part as a leader, especially become an impactful leader. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegates of Colombia. Next speaker is the Delegate of Afghanistan. 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start from now.
Thank you for the time, Chair. Delegate from Afghanistan believe that pathway toward impactful female leader is more than less, because as we know that the role of women on political participation is still less than the men, and women are taught how to invest in business and work, which is expected to enable women around the world to face the problem and challenge they face so that they can make change. And it is aimed at enabling women to organize themselves in a group, social support, and also in cooperative economic activities, which are expected to change the social status of women. And we are needed to make people aware that the women have right under their country's constitution by working with youth group and analyzing how they can help the process of developing women and eliminating crimes against women. In the record, United Nations Women is expected to take part in national conference that supports women participation in the implementation of criminal law. So the delegation of Afghanistan is believed that impactful for female leader is less. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegates of Afghanistan. Next up, for our last speaker, Delegates of United States.
Thank you for the recognition. There are many influential women in the world from all walks of life, politics, business, sport, and the art, to name just a few. Just of these women will really admire that luck has played a major role for them, but surely that cannot be the only answer. We believe that there are many things women can do to help themselves to be more influential and powerful. Today we'll look at the various key areas that we believe women could focus on themselves, which influence the approach and the reputations. Being influential is essential, is a relationship skill, is a major factor in understanding and developing your ability to influential, is to have an appreciation of your influencing style and approach. And the reputation, your reputation is built up over many years. It's the large based on your interaction with others. This means that you must be aware of your behavior and how people perceive you. Maybe that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegates of US. So we're going back to the motions again. Yes. Yeah, let's consider that as fail as well. Clear all the motions. Yes. So is there any motions, delegates? Delegates of Pakistan?
Thank you, Chair. This delegate would like to propose a motion regarding a solution for women participation problem.
Solutions for women participation.
Yeah, participation. The total time will be 20 minutes. For each speaker time is 2 minutes.
20 minutes and 2 minutes. Yes. Sorry, can you type your motions on the Zoom chat if it's possible? Solutions of women participation problem. Yes. Delegates of UK?
Thank you, Chair. We propose a 20-minute moderated caucus with 2 minutes individual speakers time on UN Women's Success Measurement for Women's Political Participation. It's in the chat.
Yes. 20 minutes and 2 minutes. From Delegates of UK. Yeah, okay. And next up is Delegate of Brazil.
Thank you, Chair. So the Delegate of Brazil would like to propose a moderated caucus with the total time of 20 to 2 minutes, which is about government actions to deal with discrimination based on gender in political participation.
Have you written it on the chat box?
Okay, sure. Yeah, wait a minute.
Government action, it's on the Zoom chat already, committee? Yes. It's from Brazil. Okay. We only can entertain 3 motions. So from the most disruptive motions comes from the delegates of Pakistan. Topic of solutions of women participation problem. If you wanted to discuss this, please raise your hand. Yes, so it's already 8 votes in total, so it was passed. So delegates of Pakistan, are you going to speak on first or last?
First, please.
Pakistan is on first. Sorry, committee. Pakistan will be the first speaker. Yes. So we can allow like 10 delegates, so 9 remaining 9 slots for other delegates. If delegates who wish to be added on the speakers, please raise your hand. Delegates of Japan, delegates of UK, delegates of Brazil, delegates of Turkey, delegates of India. Oh, not Finland, it's India. Delegates of USA. Is there any more delegates? Delegates of Poland. We can entertain like 2 more speakers. Colombia. And 1 more delegate. Delegate of Afghanistan. Okay. Delegates of Poland, please unraise your hand since you have been recognized. Delegates of Poland. Okay, maybe delegates of Poland are having some disruptive internet connection. So let's just first go on the speakers of Pakistan. Pakistan, you have 2 minutes. Start from now.
Thank you, thanks to the delegate. This delegate would like to focus on solution regardless of the root cause. And we have our solution, which is, we have a solution regarding what we call as RUS, which is restrengthen, upgrade, and support. And we would like to explain it. Restrengthen in regard of the previous international past action, because we already have an international past action. There are UN resolution number 2011, and we have the ECOSOC for the quota or the participation, and the other related resolution. Then rather than we are create a new one, why don't we have trying to strengthen it and trying to innovate based on the loophole of those international past action. And also it is include the policy brief sharing, so the developing country could have the reference from the developed country in regard how to increase the women participation in their country. As we know that maybe for the Western country have a better in regard of the quantitative measurement for the women itself. And also we have upgrade education aspect. What we said at this point is reorientation of the gender equality concept, so it will be not misleading and misconception for each country, because some of country has their own interpretation in regard of the gender equality. So reorientation or upgrading the education of the information, and also trying to increase the support system, so it will be better. And the Pakistan would like to explain it later, so it will be better if we have Anmod later on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Delegate of Pakistan. Next speaker is the Delegate of Japan. You have 2 minutes. Start from now.
Thank you, Chair, for all the recognition. Delegates of Japan would like to propose several solutions to ensure gender equality regarding Japan problem that women's access is still restricted by the government and political parties. So we need a high commitment from Japanese government regarding womenomics, target and conduct an evaluation every 5 years according to the direction of Prime Minister of Japan. And we have to need active role of advocates, institution, or other organization to support gender equality, such as empowering women, training women to take leadership in politics, and also dismiss any form of discrimination. And we have political parties must limit the dominant role of the men in elections and ensure space for women to take a position in political affairs. So we also need enhancing awareness and understanding of the importance of gender equality at an early age and socializations at the education level. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Delegates of Japan. Next speaker is the delegate of United Kingdom.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. Delegates, the biggest enemy that we're going to face is patriarchal values. That is the biggest enemy here, and that is the reason why women's political participation is still very limited. Why? Because the politicians that are being platformed in the status quo are actively making repressive laws against women's rights. That is the biggest key point that we want to take away here, which is that the legal system must be favorable towards women, whether it's simple things such as about gender discrimination and actively fighting against it, or we can talk about measurements for childcare or for rape protection. All of these issues at the end of the day are still political in nature, and they must be platformed. So that is the solution that UK is hearing. First, countries must actively reform their laws to make sure that legislation are in fact very progressive towards women's rights. That means that victimization of women can no longer be echoed in the status quo once reformation happens. But secondly, we also want to make sure that these legal systems in place are actually being enforced correctly. Because in the status quo right now, any delegate can look into their national constitution and it will see in writing, all people are the same. That is in writing. It's already encoded. But the problem is not on the law, it's on the enforcement of it. We think that delegates must be more serious in ensuring that there is more deterrent measures towards political candidates, for example, who actively platform anti-women values, for example, by stating, oh, this female political candidate is not worth for office because they have a child or because women are more emotional. We think that these kinds of sentiment must be actively condemned. It cannot be platformed at all in all member states. So that is how we can make a conducive, safe environment for women to actually be encouraged to participate more in politics. That is the biggest takeaway that we want to bring, delegates. Thank you.
Thank you so much, delegates of United Kingdom. Next speaker is the delegates of Brazil.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. So the delegates of Brazil believe that there are several solutions that every country can take into action to solve the issue of the women participation. So one of the solutions that from the delegates of Brazil would like to propose is maybe it would be better for every member states to establish and also develop every policies regarding spreading the awareness on the importance to reducing the gender inequality in leadership roles, and we can also educate them on the consequences. But from the developed policy itself, we can try to follow three different strategies. The first one is maybe we can try to promote like the public awareness, and we can share more information or detail about what are the importance of the gender equality, especially in the professional industry and also the political participation. And for the awareness itself, we can try to use different kinds of form of media like news, posters, or even social media itself. And the second one is perhaps maybe we can try to promote the woman itself by celebrating the International Women's Day as the one of the remembrance and also having a prominent national figures. And also the government from each of the countries could have a representative to represent the countries as one of the ambassadors to participate on this event. And lastly, it will maybe by establishing like an easy, accessible strategy like online platform like webinars, so that we can try to increase the accessibility of information regarding what are the benefits of gender equality in the leadership roles. Thank you, Chairs.
Thank you so much, delegate of Brazil. Next up is the delegate of Turkey. Delegates of Turkey, you have 2 minutes. Start from now.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you also for the delegates for the insightful discussion so far. We have heard like several perspectives that in order to solve this, we have to consider merging the sort of high politics solutions with a more of constructive and long-term solution. We can agree with both solutions to be implemented, but the delegate of Turkey would like the question itself to explain further about the long-term solution. So previously we have explained that we can provide comprehensive information that in order to be a politician, this is a commitment that we have to take. So the main question would be, why are still there skepticism? Mainly due to the fact that being a politician means you are being openly hated and loved by specific type of people. And consider the fact that the conservative culture does not want their women to be harm or to be prone towards harm in any way, then they are not open for their women to be in such fragile or prone roles, such as being politician. So what we are trying to provide here is let's provide, for example, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, who has performed very well in managing COVID, same as with several female leaders like in Germany. What we want to say is being a female leader means you are having an exclusive benefit compared to men, such as you can provide more emotional investment and you can relate more and you can be more emotional in the way you are explaining how are the things are going, what you are doing, what is the government are currently doing, and why the people should support that. Please note that being politician is not only about expressing facts, but also expressing facts in a relatable way. And we think that's the moment that, or that's the point that women can get their strength as. And last point is that in Turkey since 1998 until 2020, there's been like an 11% increase of women's representation, and it occurs due to high participation in political election, and that's the part that we want to discuss further about how to increase participation in that event. Thank you.
Next speaker is the Delegates of India. Delegates of India.
Yes, Chair.
You have 2 minutes. Start from now.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. The cause of issues first is in India itself is stigma against women. Some countries, especially India, don't trust women in a position of power. Psychological and tradition barrier and social stigma of patriarchal hegemony. And then underrepresentation and also lack of quality education for women at the minimum level of undergraduate women, notably have a lower level of education, and also lack of confidence of women to run. See women as non-dominant, non-assertive, and partial behavior attitude. We need solution. We need solution like education for women and enhancing the skills or competence. Internship, talk, scholarship for the traditionally disempowered, design and conduct for the registration and education campaign targeting women, tackling perceived gender norms such as the alpha male, and also raising awareness. The type of awareness activity we can utilize depends on the situation and the specific purpose in relation to the policy, program, or project. For instance, be aware of gender stereotypes which can affect both males and females in every aspect of life and are a huge obstacle to gender equality. Giving a recommendation for all member states to increase the quota and also the chance for women to become a political actor, leader, or even country ambassador, so that the percentage of women represented in the political field, especially in UN, will increase gradually. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Delegates of India. Next speaker is the Delegate of United States.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. Delegate of US already mentioned this on the GSL speech a little bit, but there is a step to, there is a solution of women participation problem, which is stated mandatory or voluntary requirement target for political parties and well-researched party mechanism to identify, recruit, and support women candidates. Establish gender parity target for political action committees and provide fundraising support to women candidates in primary campaign. Advocate for internal gender equality plans, which sets out a specific commitment to making the legislature and other branches of the government more gender sensitive. As an example, by improving sexual harassment and accountability procedures and prioritize gender equality in leadership position and committee assigned. I think that's all. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Delegates of US. Next speaker is the Delegates of Poland. Delegates of Poland.
Hello.
Yeah. You have 2 minutes. Start from now.
Okay, thanks for recognition, Chair. The Delegate Poland, the Poland government, together with the Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of Defense, Local Government, General Election Commission, and Election Supervision Agency, as well as public and private university and community institutions, both at the center and the regions, have made effort to increase women participation in the world of politics, especially preparing to become a member of the legislature of regional head. These include conducting training of women political facilitators in the province, leadership training for potential women candidates for regional heads, gender perspective national political education, training of women defending of country, rural women leadership training, strengthening the capacity of women legislative candidates at the center and region. The President of Poland asked the woman legislative candidate for the general election to compete in the healthy of the fair manner and they have the true democratic spirit to build a democracy, this civilized moral culture and according with the prevailing socio-cultural system of society, avoiding black the negative campaign of not spreading hate speech against ethnicity, regulation, race, and the between group. Always provide alternative solution to improve the quality of life in the fallen woman and children is facing conflict challenge in the future, as well as developing women and children issue as well gender equality in the formulating state regulation and developing development politic culture in a sustainable development. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Delegates of Poland. Next speaker, Delegates of Colombia. You have 2 minutes. Start from now.
Thank you, Chair. Colombia government past action to reduce women political problem is by establishing statutory law 581 in the years of 2000 that contain a law to create the mechanism for the authorities to give women the appropriate and effective participation in all levels, including in the Colombian political constitution and in the decision of civil society. But on the top of that, we do realize that we need other actors to solve this kind of problem or the woman participation in political problem. So therefore, we would like to call upon NGOs, private sectors, and the international community in the act on promotion of gender equality to reduce gender gap and also to supporting leadership training program for girls and women. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Colombia. Next speaker, Delegates of Afghanistan. You have 2 minutes. Start from now.
Thank you, Chair, for the time. Seeing the development of the role of women on political participation problems that occur in the world, from Afghanistan seeks to establish cooperation between countries and provide solutions and contribute to increase the role of women that has occurred. The first solution is United Nations Women and international society in various states are trying to grow a network of women that has never been built and supporting the women's movement in the political sphere. United Nations women have a role as supporters of women so that they are active and participate in presidential and council election in their countries. To be able to make this happen, women who become candidates will be given training campaign so that they can understand how it should be when she becomes an elected member. In addition, United Nations Women can prepare an oral history research which contains reports on incidents of violence experienced by women and hopes that women can give their aspiration as we done in Afghanistan with the Afghanistan Women's Network or AWN. Through this program, I think women are taught how to interest to economy and business and work, which are expected to more increasing the role of women, especially in the political participation. Thank you.
Okay. Next speaker. Okay. So it was the end of these motions regarding to the solutions of women participation problem. Let's just go back to the motions committee. Yes, can you please clear all the motions? So is there any motions on the floor? Delegates of Brazil?
Thank you, Chair. Is that possible if the delegates raise the unmoderated caucus, Chair?
Yes, it's possible.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. So the delegates of Brazil would like to propose a motion for unmoderated caucus for 20 minutes. Is that in order?
Yes. Okay. Can we please? No. Add motions. And what? Yes. 20 minutes, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, Chair.
20 minutes from Brazil. Okay. Delegates of Turkey.
Thank you, Chair. Delegates of Turkey would like to propose a moderated caucus of 15 to 1.5. The topic would be discussing the level of participation of women in national election. I will also type it.
So is it true discussing level of participation in national election?
Yes, but for women specifically.
Okay, so can we please put that on committee? Yes. How many minutes?
15 minutes in total, 1.5 each speaking time.
Okay, 15 minutes and 1.5, 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Yes, thank you.
Submitted. Delegates of UK.
This is a point of parliamentary inquiry, Chair. Are we allowed to motion for a consultation of the whole?
I think this is too beginning for consultations of the whole. Is it okay if we put it on an unworded caucus first?
Okay, so we'll withdraw our motion and second Brazil's. Thank you.
Okay, that will be good. Can we? Yes. So we will be having two motions, but the most disruptive motions come from Brazil regarding to unmoored caucus for 20 minutes. In order to pass the motions, we need 7 votes. If the delegates are in favor with the motions, please raise your hand. We have 8 votes in total. So this motion's pass. You'll be having unmoored caucus for 20 minutes. Start from now. Do you guys want it a break?
Points, Chair?
Okay, yes.
Yes, points we would like to raise for breakout room. Thank you.
Okay. Can the committee make the breakout room? Let's just make it 2 or 3. Is it open already?
Not yet.
How about now?
Not yet, Chair.
Oh, it's not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Committee, can you help me? So is it, can you go to the breakout room now?
Yeah, the breakout room already open.
Okay, so the breakout room is now open. You have 20 minutes. Start from now, delegates. Good luck.
Chair, we cannot access the breakout room. Sorry.
Sure. Yes, Chair, we cannot access.
It's not yet.
Yeah.
Viti, can you help me? I cannot open. I can only close the rooms, not to open the rooms. So guys, I have like major problem. What we can do is just to assign the delegates to the room, but you can move, I guess. So is it fine if I move everyone to each room and you guys can move around?
Yes, it's fine.
Okay, it's fine. Okay, I'll move it. Like I randomly move it. Okay, so. Is everyone back yet? Yes. So we'll be having a break on 15:30 since it was 15:27. So we only have like one specific motions. Is there anyone who wanted to read? Okay, Delegates of Brazil.
Okay, thank you, Chair. The delegates of Brazil would like to propose a motion to suspend the debate.
Okay, that was in order under the chair's discretion. So you will be having like 10 minutes break. If you guys wanted to use the breakout room, I can open it.
Sure, Chair, it would be better.
Okay, so I'll open all the rooms. You can, yes, you can go join. And see you later. Please be back on 15:40, okay? Yes, 15:40. 10 minutes committee. Yes. 15:40, please be back. And I'll see you guys later. Is every of the delegates here? I think it's not. We only have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Delegates of USA, Colombia, Afghanistan, Sudan, India, Poland, please open your camera. Delegates of Sudan, USA. Good. Delegates of India. Delegates of Poland. Bear in mind, delegates, please open your camera, okay? Okay, so we're going to start over the committee, or the second committee session. Yes, please go to the GSL. So we only have like one specific motions. Anyone? Delegates of Brazil?
The delegates of Brazil would like to propose a motion to resume the debate.
Okay, that was in order under the chair's disruption. So let's go to the roll call first. Okay, so Afghanistan. Sorry, you're not audible. Can you please like type it on the Zoom chat if it's possible, like present and voting or present?
Present and voting.
Okay, thank you. Present and voting. Austria, not coming. Brazil?
Present and voting.
Brazil is present and voting. China, not coming. Colombia.
Delegate of Colombia is present and voting. Thank you.
Present and voting, and thank you. Finland?
Present and voting.
Finland is present and voting. India?
India is present.
Indonesia? Absent, not coming. Japan? Japan?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Are you present and voting or present?
Yes, Japan is presenting and voting.
Okay, present and voting. Pakistan?
The delegate of Pakistan is present.
Present. Poland?
Present and voting.
Poland is present and voting. Sudan?
Present and voting.
Sudan is present and voting. Turkey?
The delegate of Turkey is present and voting. Thank you.
Turkey is present and voting. United Kingdom?
Present and voting, Chair. Thank you.
United Kingdom is present and voting. United States?
Present and voting. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, can we see the quorum first? It's on the vote, if I'm not wrong. Click on the vote, and we can see how many. Yes, submitted. Okay, we still need seven delegates to raise their hand in order to pass the motions. We're going to on a GSL again. Okay, so next speaker is Finland. Finland, you will be having like 2 minutes. Start from now.
Okay, thank you. So, delegates of Finland thinks that we can increasing the promotion of women to root causes of the issues. Okay, and then delegate of Finland thinks that women have chance to make some powerful impact if we can give their way to reach it. Delegates thinks that it will give a powerful impact for them to rise up and to provide self-development such as scholarship or college scholarship in order to develop their skills, like our moderate caucus later said about leadership, maybe it can make their skills development. Okay, and the last is provide open opportunities related to the employment for women. If approved that Finland, delegates of Finland thinks that it will work because other countries, Finland can work with other countries to contribute in teaching staff or invest in the social and political education sectors. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. I assume that this is yielding back to the chair. So next speaker is Pakistan. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chan. Distinguished delegate. This delegate would like to explain our solution in regard of the RUS to strengthen, upgrade, and support because of some of disruption. And the sub-point of our solution will be first trying to sharing the policy in regard of the how to protect women and encourage the women participation because of some of new countries maybe still lack of the regulation reference. For example, if we are talking about the Iceland countries such as Tuvalu and the others, maybe still want to having a sharing from the developed country in the women participation context. And also the second one in regard of the create a forum to monitoring the number of the women participation, so we can know the development of the number one by one or year per year. And also the point of the strengthening it is to strengthening collaborate with the other UN bodies such as UNDP if we want to developing the women empowerment, and then also if we want to educate, if we want to escalate that is we can also collaborate with the UNESCO, and then if you want to try to talking to empowerment the women child, it should be collaborate with UNICEF, and it will still open for the other NGO that still have a consultative status because UN cannot be like open for the all of NGO. But if they have the consultative status, it will have more easier. And also the upgrade aspect will be the education of the gender and equality should be follow the wisdom culture and from each country, because if we are talking about the gender equality, it should be and having some like negative aspect and stigma in our country. So if the country should have the adjust and having a rebranding, it should be must, and the solution is rebranding and reorientation the concept of the gender equality, so it is could be accepted by the socio-cultural citizen. And the last aspect is support the system, and will be explained later in the comment section. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Delegate of Pakistan. Next speaker is the Delegates of United Kingdom.
Delegates, we're going to break this topic into two simple nuances, right? The first topic and layer of argument is, of course, on the basic rights of women. That is to say, promoting education for them, supporting legal protection against them. We think that's non-contentious. We think even both blocs can agree on this one. Working together with UNICEF, these are non-contentious issues and they're not mutually exclusive to each other. We can totally support that without contradiction. We think that the biggest division in this council right now is on how and what is the most effective way that we're going to bring about political participation for women in the future. In that sense, we're going to question what is the metric of success that UN Women want. What does the UN Women want at the end of the day? Do they want just any women politician to be in power? Is that going to be the end goal here? Or do we actually want women to actually make these improvements for women's rights in general? We're going to give you a very simple question, delegates, and please answer this mentally. Let's say, for example, there is a women in power, right? This is perhaps a woman who is conservative in values. This woman espouses the patriarchal values themselves, comes from a conservative party, and imposes laws that actively restrict the right of women. Is that someone that UN Women should celebrate just because she is a perhaps quote-unquote girl boss? Is that someone that we need to platform or champion? So on our bloc, the United Kingdom, we say no. That means that what we're promoting is not just having visibility of women in parliament. We actually want people in parliament to do something with women's rights. That means that the biggest division and the biggest issue that we're going to espouse is on feminism, is on the values of progressivism, and on how the end goal here is about having more women progressive laws be passed in the government. That is what we want. And we think that is actually not exclusive with just having more women in parliament. That is the distinction we're bringing to this debate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, delegates of United Kingdom. So can we see how many delegates remaining? It's only Turkey. So before that, we would like to entertain some delegates who wanted to be added on a general speakers list. Please raise your hand. Delegates of Turkey. Okay, sorry, delegates of Turkey, you have been on the list. Delegates of Pakistan. Delegates of UK. Any delegates who wanted to wish to be added? No one. So, Poland. Okay, so Brazil, you have 2 minutes. Start from now.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. So from the Brazilian country's perspective towards the women's in political participations is more based on the theoretical and also the public discussion itself, where during the discussions in this own countries itself, it's discussions about the legitimation powers is needed for a greater political participation by every women are being strengthened during the redemocratization process that will take a longer process itself. Where for the past few years, most of the